Right. I've hit go live anyway. Hello, Facebook, and it's myself and David, and I'm just going to check that we are live on Facebook, and also, very important, change the settings from being private to public.
I'm getting
I keep forgetting to do that.
notifications that you are live.
Oh, good. Oh, right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You subscribe then. Well, that's even better. Well, this is our Cyber Monday special. Have we anything to sell? That's you.
What a great shot.
Brilliant. Freeze that frame. But we don't have anything to sell today, do we? Apart from
No, we don't have anything to sell today.
No, apart from the new features on Be Live, which you're just mentioning.
Nothing to sell.
Right.
Although we can certainly pop links into the Facebook chat.
Yeah, and we can bring up the odd book and mention that or not.
Yeah.
But we have a host of things. I did a wordle earlier today of the things that we could talk about. And of course, Smiletime in there and Be Live and live video. But you were saying you've just been on Be Live and they've updated something. I did a wordle earlier.
Ooh, wow. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I only heard a little bit of it.
Yeah, so I was just broadcasting on Be Live. I've got geeksgottoeat.com, .live, and .tv all up and roaring to go. So I was using Be Live to sit there and just play around and go live. And I'm glad I did because, one, I was having microphone issues.
Yep, I noticed.
And it took me a few minutes to get that settled. But I noticed in Be Live, and this may have been there and I just didn't notice, that now I can comment in Be Live and it shows up in the video post feed.
That's a brilliant feature, isn't it? The ability to actually, I mean, we can see the comments that have been made here. And welcome to Mike Bradcliffe. And hi, and Mike's joined us on the channel, so may well join us on air if you like in a few minutes. But if you are watching on Facebook, David and I are here. We can see your comments as you make them live on Facebook, and we can react, and we'll answer any and all questions that you have. And hello, John. Hello, Fraser and Charlene. It's good. You can either watch from where you are, or you can join us in the room here. Both work. And it's hello, just to show that this is working. Hello from John, and welcome, John. And before I forget, John will remind me that on Thursday morning, 10 o'clock, it's Blabbing for Britain, episode 54, and we are live on Facebook because we're coming from Smiletime for the first time ever. All four of us will be live at 10 a.m. Thursday on Smiletime, and Charlene is with us as well. Hello, Charlene. Nice to see you. And David and I were sort of trying out Smiletime again, but it's pretty. You said the other day that the beta's come off this, hasn't it?
I have noticed that the beta has gone away from Smiletime. Apparently, they feel that they have enough stability to take the beta out.
Yeah. Well, I was watching the replay earlier as I created my latest Skillshare course. And the quality of the video and sound is improving because we've had this thing about Facebook video degrading or the sync not being there, and it seems to be improving.
Yep.
And just say hello to Bill as we do, because this is an informal chat, and it's good to see you, Bill. And anybody who's watching now, if you comment, if you've got a question on any aspect of live broadcasting, be it from OBS or from Smiletime or Huzzah or Be Live, then please ask us and we'll answer your questions. I think we're now reaching the stage where platforms are beginning to be stable. Do you agree?
Say that one more time.
The platform is becoming stable.
Yes, the platform is becoming stable, and they were working on. They made an announcement. Alex, the CEO, actually did a Smiletime office hours, and he talked about that they were aware of quite a few what they were considering critical bugs, and that they were making some updates. And this was not this past weekend, but the weekend before, that they were going to be making some updates at the end of that weekend and then to the beginning of the week to improve that. And one of them, I believe, was the audio video sync issue that was going on. Not just on Facebook, but I believe that some people were also encountering it as they were watching at Smiletime.
But now we can see that our lips are actually synced with the sounds that we're making.
Right.
That's a lot better.
Right.
And Mike is watching on both channels. That's very brave, Mike, because we best explain that if you have both channels open, there's no reason why you shouldn't. Then there is a delay, isn't there, between the channels, for anybody who's here and on Facebook at the same time.
There is going to be less of a delay towards Facebook, and that is because they're simply taking what they are receiving and then passing it along to Facebook, versus when they're posting it into Smiletime. I always said the Facebook window has frozen.
Right. Okay. Let's bring that up. Great. If anybody watching has similar problems to Mike, could you just let us know, and then we'll decide what we need to do. We are, of course, like all of you watching, pioneers, and when this thing works, it's beautiful, but occasionally we'll get the glitch. So John and Charlene, if you're watching and the video suddenly stops, could you just let us know? And John said it's okay. So Mike, it's looking like the internet in Wales is having one or two problems, as we did last week. So we'll keep a watch on that.
It's flowing for me, so I'm not seeing freezing going on.
I'm not monitoring the Facebook channel overly much because we can see everything from within here. In fact, right. I'm going to just take the precaution of closing down a few browser windows. Yeah, I did another comparison today between the sites, which is, if you on my profile page now, if you scroll down a bit, you see the latest comparison, because now both Smiletime and BeLive are going out to Facebook, and they've got the comments included, as we can see here. And also, as Debbie's just said, that if you're on BeLive, then you can, as host, make a comment which will appear on the Facebook feed. So I want to say hello, and we have a very lively audience. So good to see you all. And,
so Eileen, so I shared this post, and this is a good thing for people to understand. So I shared the post that you did, Stephen, in Facebook to two groups on Facebook. I shared it to Live Talk Nation and to Stream Live. And so Eileen is commenting on the actual post in let's see, in Live Talk Nation.
Wow.
And so Eileen and to anyone else, while you can comment on the shared post, we do not see those comments because you are not commenting on the actual video post. So what you would need to do now, for most people that are watching mobile, they don't have to worry about it, because in order to watch the video, it kind of opens the video post up. But when you're on desktop, you can actually watch from the post, like in your timeline, and the share in your timeline. So what you need to do is actually click on the videos so that it absorbs the entire screen, and then you can comment there and do it. Or you can just click on Stephen's link, go to Steve, because this is broadcasting on Stephen's profile. You can go to his profile and watch the video, and you can comment there, and then that will actually be the video post.
Indeed, as Eileen's just done now. And that's the thing that what I try to do is I do post to my own profile, and there's a reason for that. And it's on, I'll just post well, you won't see the link, will you? Now, if we were on BeLive, I could actually post the link. It's on my profile. All right, I think Eileen's got it now. Good. She's got it. Yeah. Now, when you're broadcasting out, you do have a choice of where to broadcast, especially on BeLive, where you can go to a group. Now, I'm of the opinion that you should broadcast where your largest audience is. And I always broadcast to my own profile page, because that's where I've got 4,500 contacts, and that's where people are and people know to go. And basically, it's a question of which is busier, isn't it?
It is. You need to be a little careful, which Facebook hasn't really been a Gestapo about it yet,
No.
but I'm sure it's going to come. You need to be careful what you do with your profile, and make it not too businessy, because Facebook will throw you in Facebook jail. They don't like that. They would rather you have businessy type stuff directed towards a fan page or a group. But if you're not doing businessy stuff, and this is why they haven't really, I don't think, cut down on it, is one, a lot of people are playing around still with live video. But if you're not doing any kind of marketing or anything like that, then it's probably okay. And again, Facebook just wants people to go live on their service, so they're kind of letting people do whatever they want to do. So
yeah, I mean, indeed, as you say, there's no heavy monitoring going on, and we don't avert ourselves during these sessions. If you're running a business session, say an advertising session or a show, like for example, RawChalk.tv, which we do, goes out on Dan's business page, and that's primarily where it goes. So that's the business show. When I'm doing a show, it's primarily to get people involved in live, and it's as simple as that. My mission is to get everybody on live. In 2017, that's my mantra: go live.
Yes,
because the more of us there are, the better.
Yep. And that's a good mantra to have. That's actually one of mine. Is and it's been one of mine for the last few months. Is that I just do video and go live. Do one or the other. Push publish. Put start whatever, and it's never going to be perfect. Go have fun.
Yeah, go have fun and get involved and make connections with people. And there's never been a better time to get involved, because now people are starting to watch video, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit. And again, there's so much newness with everything that it's tough, for people to know when to watch, or how to get alerted, or where you're going to be. But they also need to know, how much time do I need to allow?
Yeah.
So that's why one of the other mantras I guess I have is always play for the replay. Because that's really what people will watch if it's something that's lengthy. In a mobile lifestyle that we all have, they don't have time to just stop and watch a lot of times. And you don't want to, exclude those who weren't able to catch it live.
Oh, true. I mean, the replay is very important. I mean, the situation is that 70% of the views, and I know there are people that don't believe in them, but 70% of the views are coming after the event, because people are doing it in their own time. Which is why I'm glad that the quality of the replay is improving. And we have a question from Mike, if you want to take it.
So I can stream this through a biz page? Yes, you can. So right now, Smiletime will allow you to stream to your profile or to a fan page, biz page. Not to a group, not to an event. Supposedly that's to come, but they've got other things that they are working on. One is the mobile experience, which hopefully will be seeing a little bit more activity in the improvement of their mobile app, being able to interact a little bit more, being able to actually go live from the app or hop on as a guest from the app. We'll see. I've been asked to help beta if I would. Yeah. I said I was more than willing to do that and poke holes and break it for them.
Well, that's what's needed.
Yeah. If there's anything that you want broken, just come to me. I'll find a way to break it in a heartbeat, and I'll let you know where the bugs are. Can you stream to your website? Is your website, Bill, do you want to post that up?
Yeah, sure.
So Bill's asking, can he stream to his website? So is your website a WordPress site? Or is it a regular HTML or Squarespace or something other than WordPress. If it's a WordPress site, there is actually a wonderful plugin that was available. I'm assuming that it's still available. I'll have to actually go see. That a gentleman and a company out of Australia put together that would allow you to grab any live feed and have it show up on a designated page. It worked really, really well. And in fact, it would show the Facebook comments on the actual post on the page as well. It's a little patience would be required in setting it up and making sure that you're following the directions. It could be a little daunting to set up because it does require a couple of steps most people would not be used to. But the gentleman, the head developer, the lead developer, ran into some issue with Facebook, which is not unusual. Facebook will often sit there and throw developers into Facebook jail, in which case they weren't allowing him to update. So like I say, as far as I know, it's still available. It's just not there. Now, the benefit of that is one thing that I talk about, especially with getting your community used to you going live, is that if you're using BeLive and Facebook and YouTube and Smiletime and FireTalk, and you've got all these, and Periscope and whatever else, and you got all these places that people are spinning their head around trying to figure out where you are. One of the best things to do is to grab a .live domain and then have it pointed to a specific page that you create on your website. And this helps because now people can actually just go to the website, go to that particular URL and that page, and when you're live, and you can set up an RSS feed so that they can get notified and all this type of stuff. Then that's one thing that you can do.
It's an alternative as well, because that's taking the feed from Facebook, isn't it? Could you also do an iframe from Smiletime to your website?
You could set up an iframe from Smiletime onto your website. However, Smiletime, while they will work on it a little bit better, it's a feature that they want to have working better. So they don't have a direct way for you to embed, like, click here and embed on your website. Yeah. The site is not responsive. And when I say that, I mean that if you were depending on the screen size, it doesn't respond. It will not shrink down so that you get the video and the comments and the chats and all that type of stuff. So yes, you could do an iframe. I wouldn't recommend it at this time just because I think you and your audience would be unhappy with the results. And when they come out with a better way to embed it, let them do that at the time.
Right. The next question, which is, if you go first, well, I'll go first on this one.
You go first.
Right. Okay. I think BeLive and Smiletime have two separate use cases. The situation is that I'm going to put a question over there. The situation is that BeLive is 2 people on screen, maximum of 2 people on screen. It has the show feel like Smiletime, but it's a maximum of 2. On Smiletime, you can have up to 4 people, and David will have a comment on that in a moment. But you can bring in slides, and just to give you an example, this is something that you can't do on BeLive, is that I can bring in slides which will display on screen. So you can use Smiletime for doing presentations. The situation with BeLive is that, as well as the 2 versus 4 thing, unless you're using an external third-party software, you cannot do anything other than have 2 talking heads. Over to you, David.
Yeah, I mean, they're 2 different platforms, so there's similarities. They both allow you the ability to stream to Facebook Live. It really depends on a couple of factors. What I tell people is one, what are you looking to do? What type of interaction? from your audience what you'd like? Are you just looking, do you want them over? Do you want to be able to bring people on or multiple people on, or like Stephen was talking about? There's ways that you can work with Smiletime, and then there's Be Live, which does things in a different format. And what you're comfortable with is probably the best thing. What makes you the happiest with what's available? It's not. It'd be like a better comparison might be what's better, Be Live or Smiletime or Fire Talk.
Right.
Fire Talk, because Fire Talk's different.
It is,
and I would throw it out the window. So.
Right. Okay. In Fire Talk's defence, they were there when we needed them, and unfortunately, they decided that this video chat arena is not one they want to be totally involved in to the same extent as Be Live and Smiletime. Now, the next question is coming from Bill, which goes back to your .live domain. Will they have to post a new URL every time I go live?
If you go through the process like I went through and set up, so if you went to davidvaughan.live, it would go to a page that's set up. Now nothing's there now. It's well, there's a little bit of stuff there, but nothing live is there, and that's because this is Stephen's broadcast and not mine, so it's not showing up on my page. But once you do that, no, you wouldn't have to post up a different URL. It's just, and that's one of the benefits, is have that go to one destination. It's just like I set up geeksgottoeat.com .tv and .live, and the .live is now pointing to a Smiletime channel that I created. And the reason that I did that is that right now I'm not going to build a website for that brand. Or that thought, because it's still going to come together. So the .com actually goes to the Facebook page right now. The .tv goes to my YouTube channel that doesn't have any videos up on it, but it's the YouTube channel for it. And the .live goes to the Smiletime.
Just as an aside, your YouTube channel's got quite a few views.
Which one?
Your main one, TV.
davidvaughan.tv. Yeah, that's mainly because of actually just a couple videos that are on there. That's still a lot of
that's an impressive count to which I
thank you.
To which I aspire. Right, okay, and Eileen's made a comment, and if your guest is on iPhone, you should use Be Live. Is that correct?
If your guest is on iPhone and you want them to join you on camera, then yes, at the moment, Be Live would be the service that you should use. Yeah. Now Smiletime is working on it, and again, that's an app update that is coming out. And then once the app update happens, they've got a large community update for the actual web experience that they've taken lots of suggestions for. So development takes a while, and one of the differences between services like what Blab used to be, or Fire Talk, and like a Smiletime or Be Live, is there's a product called TalkBox that you can go buy, and it's a licensed product, and it goes based off of what they call seats, and the seats can be either people that are broadcasting on a channel, and also people that are viewing, and it gets really, really expensive. And that's one of the reasons that I believe Fire Talk went the route that they went, because basically nobody was using the platform hardly, and then all of a sudden lots of people were using it, and it was costing them money. So that's why they went the direction that they went. Smiletime is completely proprietary. They've built the entire thing themselves, and so they have all control and of the platform. And Be Life's the same way. They didn't use TalkBox. They built it from ground up, made it proprietary, and that works out really, really well. Those are the types of services that'll probably stick around a lot longer than others, and it's because of that how they built that type of stuff. Huzza uses TalkBox.
Yep, like Bob did, and FireTalk does, as far as I know. But that's good. And just to acknowledge a couple of comments that are coming from Skip. Well, Skip is a coder, so his iframe yuck is a coder's response. But I mean, we make do with what we can, Skip. And if somebody comes up with a whizzy bit for doing interfaces to these video chats that you can just plug into your WordPress or your HTML site, then we'd love it. At the moment, we've just got to make do with what we can. And I'll go to John's comment here. The only person on FireTalk at the moment is me, and that's probably true. I'm the only person showing on the front page with the show. And just to put the advert in, it's Ask Angelica on Friday at 2 o'clock. But I love FireTalk's quality, and if you don't want to go out to Facebook Live, and there are cases when you don't, then FireTalk is brilliant, because I use it for interviews, which are going to be recorded but not released anywhere. Well, apart from in Skillshare courses, that is, which is where the money is. Right, okay, now welcome Gail, and Gail's got a comment to make. I don't know what it is, but I keep having challenges with Smiletime.
Bye, Eileen.
Bye, Eileen. See you later, and I will catch up soon. Thanks for the comment.
Right. I believe that Gail has actually been on the office hours of Smiletime and voiced her issues that, and I can't exactly recall what it is that the issues that she had.
Yeah, I mean, it's very
I think one of the problems, and Gail, I don't know the last time that you tried it, but I think that some of the issues that you were having were actually fixed this past week with a back-end update that Smiletime was doing.
Yeah, so the best advice is just to try again.
Yep.
Well, all we can say is that when we came on today, we had no problem, and we haven't had I haven't had any problems on Smiletime for about a week or so, week to 10 days. Every show I've done has been fine.
You can't get the people on the stage consistently. She tried it on Small Business Saturday. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have problems where people have
hey, Alex.
low bandwidth. And hello, Alex. Nice to see you. Just to explain why we're here. We're actually going through a technical run-through, myself and David, on the current state of broadcasting platforms, and we're taking questions from people who are interested in live broadcasting. And yes, can you answer anything for us?
I think well, so this is Alex, the CEO of Smiletime. So thanks for hopping in. And Gail, I mean, just, my response to that, and I know I've been around and I know it can be frustrating. With any kind of live video, we're going to have some patience with certain aspects of it. I would try and you just can't, there's no way to tell based on, who it is that is trying to come on. If they are not consistently, unfortunately, familiar with live streaming, sometimes it's not very easy for them. They may have bad bandwidth. They may, there are lots of unknowns that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've got that problem with Fraser up in Scotland and with Mike who's watching at the moment, where the bandwidth is a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, there are several sites that we can go out to, which you can use to test, can't you? There's the WebRTC sites where you just go and it'll tell you whether your video's okay and your mic's okay. And,
yep. Well, I mean, but one of the other issues that people have to understand with that, we've got a certain level that we've basically, services like YouTube or Netflix or Hulu have hurt us in a way, because it's become very easy for me to just have my mobile device or wherever, pretty much be wherever, and I can watch the video. And so in a lot of people's minds, that's what they equate to. one thing they don't understand is that YouTube and Netflix and Hulu and a few other services, they've got a very large peering network that they've built over time. And what a peering network means is that instead of everything going to one destination, it can go to multiple destinations based on where you were located geographically. That's how somebody is able to watch your video on YouTube, you know, and one person be in Los Angeles and you're in New York and another person be in the Sudan, you know, as long as they've got internet, that type of stuff. So that's one thing that we've got to understand, is that, you know, we certainly can't expect services like Smiletime or anything. Now, WebRTC is a little, well, WebRTC is very different than just watching a video on YouTube, and I'm not trying to equate it that way, but if Alex, I know you had invited Alex, so if he wants to come on, I think he's on. Or is he coming on? Oh, he's not on.
Alex, I'm going to invite you again, Alex. My apologies, I got carried away there.
He got click happy.
I did. I'm going to change the...
Too many shiny buttons.
Too many shiny... I'm going to press the right button there. Right, okay. Now, this time, that's finger trouble more than anything else. And this time when you come back in, Alex, I shall just drag you across because we can go with the blue background. Yeah, so while we're waiting for Alex to come back, all right, okay. Now, a question from an observation from Bill. Many liked Blab. Why has it been so hard to duplicate?
Have you tried to re-invite Alex?
I'm going to do that now.
Okay.
Once you take the question, I'm going to invite again. Right. Okay. Yep. Done.
You can give him the big stage, and I'll just, you know, I can go away.
No, you can't. We just want Alex in. Yeah, I mean, back to the Blab days. Blab had everything. It had the community. Hello, Alex. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I'll come back to that question in a moment. Okay. First of all, this is our first show together, David and I, on Smiletime, although we've done plenty of shows where we've both appeared. And what we thought we'd do on a regular basis is just to get together and talk about live streaming in general and use the Smiletime platform to do that, and invite our friends along and broadcast that live to Facebook. So this is our way of saying thank you to Smiletime for the wonderful resource which we both enjoy using. And if you've any news about what's coming up on Smiletime, then we'll be most grateful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because David seems to know as much as I do.
Checks in the mail, Alex, right?
Did you ever get a T-shirt, David? Did we send you one?
No swag yet.
Can you email us with your mailing address? If you've done that already, I apologize, but that's on us. Can you?
No, actually, I haven't. But I will. So
okay, please do that. And your T-shirt size. So I think it's important to emphasize the thing that David said a second ago. As some of you know, I worked at Hulu for. In fact, actually, do you mind? I'm going to take a small break and get a headset because I'm echoing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
So,
right.
One second.
Okay. To those of you who are watching, we've been joined by Alex Kruglov, who's the CEO of Smiletime, and we hope that he will sort of fill us in.
Go and grab a headset, Skip.
Yeah. Okay. And Skip's saying been from Echo. That's why Alex has gone to get the headset. So noted, Skip. Right.
Okay, here I am. So
okay, good.
As some of you know, I worked at Hulu for many years. I was a part of the early team there, and I was there for 6 years. And the point that David made, I think, is a very important one for two reasons. One is it took companies like Hulu approximately 4 years to get to the point where the technology was consistently reliable and viewable across multiple platforms. And by platforms, initially that meant browsers, and eventually it meant various operating systems, iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, more than dozens of different smart TVs, all of whom have operating systems, all that kind of stuff. And that was on top of an infrastructure that was built for the previous decade, which has to do with how packets are sent around the internet, primarily around content delivery networks like Akamai, which were fully at scale at that time. If you think about a technology that allows people to connect via video and then to broadcast that not as a conference call, which obviously the Skype and Google Hangout and others have been doing for many years, but as a scalable stream to multiple viewers, that is a much more difficult problem to solve, and a much more recent one from a solution standpoint. So businesses like TalkBox, which are wonderful, what they do is they've come up with essentially a version of a solution. And what they do, their business model is to license it to companies like Blab, to companies like FireTalk and many others. And they license it exactly as David described on a per seat basis. So if you have 10 viewers, those companies pay for 10 seats. If you have 100 viewers, they pay for 100 seats. And then obviously, if you can imagine, the incentive structure is not set up to have a lot of concurrent live viewers. So the business, so as a result, they charge you, right? Because the only way that they could possibly create a business that makes sense from a business model standpoint is to essentially charge creators for the usage of the platform and charge creators more when they get more viewers. Our business model is fundamentally distinct from that, which is that we actually want to get to scale as quickly as possible. We want to have a lot of viewers, and we as a business function better when we have a lot of viewers, because we're introducing both sponsorship revenue, various transactional revenue streams, and others that are coming that you'll see in the coming months. So as a result, some of the challenges we're solving are fundamentally distinct from the challenges that some of these other platforms are solving, because they're trying to address a different business. When you're working with, for example, a Blue Jeans, really what they're doing is trying to essentially create a more scaled and better executed conference call. So whether it's, if an investor meeting or a variety of other things, whereas we're trying to build an entertainment platform. So that's not to say that we don't welcome non-entertainment topics. Politics, obviously, an important topics, various verticals, including the technology ones that all of you are in, are very important to us. But fundamentally, we're solving a distinct problem. What that means is that occasionally we will have technical glitches that are due to the fact that are easily solvable if we were only thinking about a 4-person broadcast, but that are much more challenging if you're thinking about, Lindsey Sterling bringing in 240,000 viewers, right? So that's part of the reason why you will see a different sort of pacing to our solutions than others. I think that all of you should feel comfortable trusting that we're building a scaled product and that we have no intention of charging creators. But what that means is that occasionally things will take a little bit longer than expected. So for example, we have rolled out an update, and we have another major one that's coming. But some of it has to do with us kind of going back to the core. The way the analogy I would make is kind of like when you have a plane that's in air and you have to refuel it mid-flight. It's just a little harder than when you land the plane and fuel it and then sort of take off again. So we're in the process of doing that on a consistent basis. And in our case, it's both sort of adding fixes to this platform that essentially have the failure rate that Gail is referring to of bringing in viewers down to a much lower percentage point.
Yep.
The way it works now, the easiest way to describe it, if your guest has gone to test.webrtc.org and has a bunch of check marks, we will basically have a success rate of close to 100%. What we're trying to do is better than that. What we want is for a guest who has gone to test.webrtc.org to have had multiple non-check marks, and for us to still have a success rate of north of 90%. That's basically what we're shooting for. And that, as I'm sure you can imagine, is not that easy to do. So that's essentially, the challenge that we're working on, while in parallel also rolling out a mobile solution, which I think David is going to be one of our early testers that David will be getting early this week. So all of that stuff, not just, this is a little boring and a little technical, but this is a technical broadcast, so I feel comfortable sort of sharing this because I think you guys want to hear this. But that's essentially the situation we're in, if that makes general sense.
That's great.
It does, and the fact that you've stepped on today and informed everyone that's going on means that we can trust that the platform going forward will stay free for creators. And anybody who's watching today live on Facebook wants to try this out, then just go to smiletime.com and you can come across and you can start your own show. And you've got the support of Alex and his team, and David and I are willing to help anybody who wants to get to know how to use this. And we've got some positive comments It's not boring to me, said Gail. I agree. I mean, it is great. And Gail's next comment, I need to hear this and make sense. Yeah, I mean, the situation is that we are in early days, aren't we, in terms of video?
Unfortunately, we are. And this, it's funny because, David is correct, but nothing pains me more than to hear comments like, hey, you need to kind of be a live streaming, a live streaming expert to be doing some of these things. And the reality is that may be a very recent past, but that is not a reality that I'm comfortable living in. And so it's on us, not on you, to get it to the point where, well, again, I use my 7-year-old daughter actually intentionally as a test case. Obviously, you can't create an account on Smiletime when you're 7 years old, so she uses my login credentials. She created her own channel. If any of you want to follow her, her name is Zadie, so she's got a channel under that name. And so part of the, some of the things that I watch her do are really interesting to me because, she, for example, she doesn't know how to use a mouse pad because she is a mobile first, like anybody that age. They're not used to dragging things and stuff like that. So in her very first broadcast, you will see that she, multiple times took herself off the stage because she replaced herself with a picture or with a GIF or with a guest or with, a comment. And those are the kinds of things that are really interesting. And obviously, on the phone, we won't have a drag feature, and we may get rid of it on the eventually on the desktop as well, assuming we come up with a reasonable alternative. So that's kind of one example. And there's many others where it's just like, how does it become intuitive for somebody who is the opposite of a live streaming enthusiast, if you will. So it's painful to hear these comments, but it's also very good to hear them because the reality is it motivates us to keep racing towards a very near future that we're all aiming towards, if that makes sense.
It does. And we've got an observation from Gail, and she's asking the question. I'll read it out. What would you suggest doing moving forward, since my business model is introduced to build my business?
Gail, so obviously, we're working on something that has a fast short-run solution that will address this. But in the meantime, as you know, before you go live, you have the ability to bring in your viewer and to test whether the connection is working, including doing boring things like asking them to refresh and stuff like that, asking them to do the test thing. So if your guests are people who are reasonably, who are kind of neophytes, if you will, and I don't mean that in a negative sense, and those guests are really not willing to do any of that stuff, and there's another platform that is much more consistent from your experience, then as much as it pains me to say, you gotta do what's right for you. But the simple solution for your situation that we have in place today is, prior to going live, invite your guest in, test to make sure that you're connected, and then go live together. And now you're live on stage together. So Chris Ripka, CJ Ripka, who some of you know, I was a guest on his podcast, and in his case, he's got a dual model where he's got a Smiletime show, and then that becomes a podcast, and that's what he does every time. So he brings in a guest. You can always put the guest into a smaller window instead of the 2x1, and then they go live together. That way, he's 100% confident that he's got a hit rate, because as you know, there's a preview window where you can see exactly what the audience sees, and if you don't see what the audience sees, you don't go live. That's the intent of that. The reason you have that 30-second countdown is so that after the first 15 seconds, when the stream kicks in, you have to, when you see there, you're 100% confident that that's exactly what the audience sees. So I know that is, again, what I'm saying is, once again, a little bit technical and not okay. Like I'm not comfortable with this answer, but it's the answer that can get you to 100% confidence rate in the meantime.
I mean, what I do, most of my guests have not been on here before. So the day before, I do a test with them, so that I know on the following day that their video and their mic is going to work. Just
to get them comfortable and all that stuff, right? But even the moment of, you go live with, essentially what you do is you put them on stage with you before you go live, right? And then no one can see you. And so during that time, you can do all the sort of the annoying stuff, and then you click go live, and you see yourselves together.
And welcome, Kimberly. And Kimberly's actually joined us here on the page, so that's good. I mean, what we're loving and what I do love is the integration of the Facebook comments, because it makes life a lot easier.
Facebook likes that too.
Yeah.
They were really happy when we showed them it in action, because that was when we met with their team. That was their one and only comment. They said, well, you know, this is great, but it would be great to have Facebook comments better integrated. And we said, we're working on it. And then when we rolled it out, they were really happy to see it. So yes, I'm glad to hear that, Stephen.
So Alex, a question then that I have for you on the comments is, is it on the roadmap for Smiletime to allow the host to be able to comment and then have it go back to the Facebook video post?
Probably not. The way that Facebook's API works is that it's a one-way API, not a two-way API. So for us to be able to allow not just the host, but other audience members who are logged in with their Facebook credentials to use to comment on Smiletime and then to have that show up on Facebook is not something Facebook supports. So if it were something that Facebook supported, essentially the ability to comment on a video while not being inside, you know, and watching that video, we'd absolutely support it. And so that's more of a question to them than it is for us. But as of now, the roundabout way in which you would have to do it is really doesn't really honor the spirit of Facebook's rules. And by the way, we're okay with that because you know the host is, first of all, is vocal. Secondly, the host can put anything they want onto the stage, and so they can so for example, Chris is commenting right now from Facebook, and you put and Stephen put Chris's comment about the integration onto the stage. So Chris, even though he's on Facebook, feels recognized, and he feels happy about the fact that his comment is being seen, which is obviously not something you can do on Facebook Live directly. And then Chris always has the option to switch over to Smiletime. So the way this works now makes sense for us, but we're not doing it just because we're trying to get people onto Smiletime. If Facebook supported the two-way commenting, we would have we would enable it, and if they do it in the future, we'll do that with them.
Let's talk about it later, because I actually just experienced it on another.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's good to know.
And I didn't look any further into it. I haven't even looked at the API to see if it was something I was like, ooh, that's neat. I didn't know I could do that now.
That's interesting. Yeah, send me. Yeah, maybe you can send me an example. I'd love to take a look at it and play around with it, because there are ways to do it in a kind of a roundabout way that doesn't honor.
And I think that's what's been done. Is it was just a hack that was done, which, I mean, that's fine, but
but that's interesting to just see how they did it, and whether the other thing is you want the comments to be timely. If they're not timely, it creates a situation that is almost less pleasant than if the comments were never seen.
Right. Yep. Okay. I can agree.
Chris is funny. Look at Chris's comment. He exercised his option to switch over to Smiletime. That's
right. Now, welcome Delia, and Delia has a question, and I know David and I have got opinions on this, which we agree on.
You guys
mine's not an opinion. Mine's based on what I've been told.
You guys have heard me answer that question about a dozen or so times, so you can. I know that you don't like the answer, but you can answer on my behalf at this point. I feel like
Smiletime will not support screen sharing. It is not in there, and that's one reason that I say what I say about the various different services and platforms that are out there. If that's, as soon as you introduce screen sharing, it goes from an engagement, an interaction, entertaining type deal, and doing that to marketing. Every single time it does. But if that's something that you're looking for and Smiletime doesn't do it, then that's something that you need to look elsewhere for when you do that type of stuff. So, but Smiletime will not entertain screen sharing, and I have no issue with that.
That's the perfect answer, David, because as far as I'm concerned, it's all about engagement, and the link with Facebook is giving us that. And I've got a comment from Brighton in the UK saying this is a great platform, and we all need to recognise that it's early days for live streaming. Thank you, Claire. And on to our next comment. Right, okay, now this is a good question, which I'll read out for you, Alex. Does FP get ticked that we're not really on Facebook? Would that be an issue later once Facebook integrates their multi-person platform? David's shaking his head, by the way.
It depends. I mean, look, I can tell you what I've heard from them directly, because to be honest with you, it's a little bit, it surprised me to some extent. But as you know, platforms are constantly building and evolving, so you never know in the future how things go. Right now, Facebook is delighted when people use platforms like ours, because they feel that Facebook gets to have its cake and eat it too. So Facebook gets to have great programming that is of higher caliber than just somebody looking into their phone and and sort of observing the world around them, or taking what I sort of think of as a kind of an extended life selfie. Number two, the creator and the viewers are still using their Facebook credentials in order to have a high quality experience. So the Facebook has always been a platform since they jumped out of their college ecosystem, which has it's been 8 years or so. Facebook has always been about people using Facebook both on Facebook and off Facebook. And three is they've encouraged platforms like ours to actually do social better than Facebook can, because we have an environment that isn't about just the newsfeed. We're 100%, the creators are 100% focused on the performance, right? They're not distracted by the fact that all of a sudden, oh, there's a comment on my wall, I better close my Facebook Live and go check that comment, right? Which is kind of how it's all inside of one product. So actually, in the case of Facebook, they've actually been referring creators our way who are asking them, hey, we want to do this, we want to do that. Now, in the long run, Gail, you never know. I mean, as you know, they are intending to very quickly launch a two creator broadcast solution, which is, for some of you will essentially replicate what you use Smiletime for. For many of you, that's not the intent for the use of Smiletime. The intent for the use of Smiletime is the ability to bring in viewers the way you brought me in. But for some people, that's really all they want to do, and so they'll just be using Facebook, which is okay. But in the long run, you just never know what kinds of things Facebook will implement. And so my answer has to be time-based. So as of today, Facebook is delighted by platforms like ours. In 6 months, in 2 years, who knows? But my job as a business person, as the founder and CEO of this company, is to create a high-quality product that serves and delights creators. And if I can do that, that means that we have to constantly keep innovating beyond what we've already built.
And that's a great answer. That's exactly what I was shaking my head for. Right now, Facebook is super happy that people are watching live video. They don't care how the live video gets to Facebook. They just want the live video working on Facebook, and they're super happy about it. The day will come when they will probably close the ecosystem down or make it so constraining to platforms like Smiletime that it just won't be worth it. Maybe. You just don't know. But that's why this is all sand, and if you're building your house in sand, it's going to sink. And that's why doing things like getting a .live domain and having that pointed and getting people used to going to the .live domain or a unique URL instead of going to Smiletime or going to Facebook or going to Google Plus or going to LinkedIn or anything of that nature, because things can change. We've seen it time and time and time again, and you will continue to see it. So I love it.
Yeah, obviously, I want you to go to Smiletime. but at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. You have to do what's right for you, and it's on us at Smiletime to earn your trust and to earn the right for you to use our platform on a consistent basis. It's not on you. It's our job.
Yeah. This Thursday, we've been doing a program called Blabbing for Britain, which is based in the UK. And started off on Blab, but then it went to Fire Talk, and we've been going 53 weeks, and our 54th week will be on Smiletime, because we recognise what's happened on Smiletime over the last couple of months in terms of moving forward, and we do want to go out to Facebook Live because that's where the audience is. So, a quick advert: if you're in the UK, 10 o'clock on Thursday on this very channel, you can join Blabbing for Britain, and if you can't make it to this channel, just go to Facebook Live. Right now. We are glad that everybody's watching us today, and thank you. If you've any questions,
this is just a test. Yeah, you have quite a few viewers, it looks like.
Well, good. We love our viewers, and we will be talking to them afterwards. I mean, the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, this is an interactive experience, and I'd like everybody to get involved. And David and I welcome questions. We feel this is about community. And we just enjoy doing it and sharing our expertise and listening to other people's ideas. And why would you be lonely on Facebook? There's 1.8 billion of you there.
No, he was lonely on Fire Talk.
Oh, really? Oh, right. Sorry.
Because nobody else was there. Alex, are you still in Boston, or have you gone back home?
No, I'm back in LA, back home. Yeah, Boston was. We always do the same thing. We take Wednesday through, come back on kind of midday Sundays. Still a little bit. The kids are still a little bit jet lagged, but it's not too bad.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving though?
Wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Why don't you take me off, Stephen? I gotta run. But thank you for having me.
Thank you for your
Thanks
time.
for hopping on.
Take care, and thank you.
Bye. Bye.
And I'm going to switch the layout back as we can, and take you over there, and take you over there. Sometimes when you're doing a show, things just happen that you don't expect.
Yeah.
I think that's in the category, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was, and that's one of the, it's one of the reasons that I am such an advocate. I mean, there's lots of reasons that I'm an advocate for Smiletime over others, but one of the reasons is that, I mean, they are extremely responsive and hands-on, and a lot of times available. Their tech support, or not their tech support, but their support. If you're the host, now I don't see it on mine because I'm not the host of this, but Steven sees it, where up in the top right-hand corner it says support, I think.
Need help.
Need help. There you go.
Yep.
Well, you can actually initiate a live chat session. Now, it may take a few minutes for whoever can respond, but you can actually go through stuff, and they are all very knowledgeable and helpful. And it's going to take a while, and I know it pains people like Alex to say it, but they are moving at a breakneck speed.
Oh yeah.
And while many people, got used to Blab, where's Blab now?
Yep.
They're gone.
Yep.
And then there's Bebo, and that sucks.
It does. Well, yes, okay. But I mean, the thing that we both appreciate is the support from Alex and his team, from Rundle and from Allegra, and anybody who I missed, apologies. But the other thing is, we know that they've got their roadmap, and it's their roadmap, and they're sticking to it. Yeah. Yeah,
and that's fine with me. That's I every time a new platform shows up, the screen sharing is one of the first questions.
Well, yeah.
And it's just they do really well. It's not that they don't entertain suggestions or welcome suggestions. They certainly do. And they're not afraid to say that's not part of our model. And like I was saying, that's fine. And if that's something you need, it's not Smiletime's fault that it's not there. You just need to figure out who has it and who allows you to do it, or figure out a way around it.
Okay, indeed. Well, that's the key, isn't it? If there are ways around it. I mean, first of all, if you want to come on Smiletime after this show and try it for yourself, just come to smiletime.com, log in with Facebook. That's the first thing you do, and Dave and I will vouch that this is a good place to be. Then the second thing is you create a channel. Now you can have as many channels as you wish within reason, but we've not broken it yet. And if anything's going to get broken, David will do it. And you can create a channel, and then once you create a channel, you can just go live. And it's a very simple process. You don't need any extra kit. You can use your inbuilt camera and microphone just to get you started.
Yep.
And just test it out.
Yep.
Yeah. And just go for it.
And you don't need any of that stuff until you need that stuff. Stop looking at what other people have, and just go live. That's all it is. I mean, the headset microphone, the camera, like he's talking about, have some decent lighting. And I'm not talking about going out and buying a lighting kit. I'm just saying have some decent lighting where you're at. Don't have the sun behind you and that type of stuff. But you got to play around with it. You got to figure out what's going on. Accept the mistakes as they happen. Accept the technical glitches as they come along.
Yeah,
we're all having fun.
Indeed, we are. Well,
I haven't met one person yet who's had consistently over 10,000 viewers.
No, indeed.
And, on a consistent basis. Yeah. And so, your message is what's important. What you are trying to deliver, the value, That's what's important. And honestly, the value should be the same if you were just doing it by yourself, alone in a room, or you had 100 people or 1,000 people or 10 people or something. That's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to, and stop trying to sell so much.
Well, that's it. I mean, the thing that I love is not only are we having this discussion now, but whatever video you do, which has got great content, you can repurpose it, can't you? Afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and Chris, I love what Chris does, and I do that on some, not for my stuff yet, but on some other people's stuff at the corporate side that I've done. These are a perfect way to have a podcast.
Yeah.
When it's done, download the video, extract the audio off, and you've got and then there's the question of the raw versus the polished.
Mm-hmm.
What my videos do is there's the raw actually goes up and stays up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you want to watch the entire raw thing, then that's fine. All the ands and ums and uhs and the breaks and all that different type of stuff. And then you can take it and you can sit there and segment it out. Okay, I talked about what type of microphone to use here, and just break that out, and then you can push that to other platforms. There's roadmaps and stuff that you can do for that type of stuff. So I love what Chris does, and there are a few other people that I know that do it that way. So that's great.
Mm-hmm. Well, to everyone who's watching, if you've any more questions, then we'll take the next 5 minutes or so, because it's heading towards lunchtime, isn't it, David?
It is. We've approached the hour mark, so I can give it.
And I'm heading towards Cafe and Cooking in the UK.
Yeah. It's time for dinner over there.
Right. Okay. And Chris has just affirmed that he would like to lift. I've got it in record now. This will be on the replay, Chris. That he'd love to be so it's there. It's in writing. I just love using Smiletime. And as I say, the last advert, Thursday at 10 o'clock, loving Kruglov. And if anybody wants to know how to use the platform, get in contact with David or myself, and we'll gladly give you a tour. And David and I will be back. When will we be back, do you think? Shall we discuss that after?
Yeah. Well, we can. I mean, you can. My thing about consistent schedules. So when it comes to live video, as long as it remains fun, then we can set up a schedule like that. If you want to do another Monday show, or we can flop it around. Maybe everybody else. You're sending this out to your feed, so maybe ask them. That'd be a good one.
Right. Okay.
Did anybody watch it? And did this time work? Would you like to be live? Does the live time not work for you?
Right. Okay. Yeah, indeed. This is Ask the Audience, and your question is, would you like another show at this time next week? And just say yes. And that's, hang on, again, phrasing the question is the problem, isn't it? We don't want to, right, if we say, you and I say that we're going to be back at this time next week, and we'll see how it goes, yeah? Because we've set a show card up, we can use that more than once.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're set to go, and I'm just blown away by what's happened this afternoon. So, shall we say goodbye to everybody for now?
Yeah, absolutely, we can do that.
Right. So, to everybody who's been watching, thank you, Gail, for confirming the time's good, and we look forward to seeing you all. 9 to 10 Mountain Time. We're in touch with the Mountain Time, and it's okay for ET, and we're okay for GMT as well. So we've got all the times in place. 4 o'clock seems to be a reasonable time for people. So thank you, everybody who's watched. It's been our pleasure. We will be back next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. GMT. David, brilliant.
Yeah,
see you next
absolutely.
week.
See you then.
Okay, take care, everybody, and we'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye for now.